Hey guys, did you know that I have a Patreon where you can support me and plus get awesome rewards? Or if you're thinking to yourself, but Julian, I want even more bang for my buck while still supporting you, you can pop over to my Redbubble and check out my awesome store with new designs appearing regularly. But for now, enjoy the video you're about to watch. So, you've decided to become a murderer. You've come to the right place. Hey everyone, it's me, Julian Greystoke, and we're here to talk about killing your characters. Yes. I enjoy a good murder of my characters every now and then. If you want to watch my previous videos about hurting your characters, why and how you should do it, links below. But today, we're going to talk about the logical conclusion to those videos, which is how, when, why to kill your characters. I am of the opinion that it's a good idea to kill a character every now and then, especially if you're writing something like a thriller, or fantasy, or sci-fi. If you're writing a fluffy little contemporary romance, maybe you don't need quite as much murder, but you never know when a good killing could spice up the story. But Julian, which characters should I kill? This is a little bit hard to answer because it's going to vary from story to story. When I'm writing a story, I generally have a good idea starting out of who is going to die later on. Sometimes it will surprise me, but usually I'm pretty much prepared. I have decided. It's often kind of an instinct for me, where I will just kind of have this instinctual feeling as I'm writing the story that it's going to be really emotional and a really great moment for this character to die. Now you can kill off side characters and red shirts galore, but I encourage you to kill off named characters. Even main characters. A lot of times when I do this, it will be at the late, middle to end of my book. I don't tend to kill them off early. Jane is here, because I really want the reader to get to know them and become very attached, so that later when I wrench this beloved person out of their life, they feel destroyed inside. That's the goal. But you don't want to kill off a character just to kill off a character. You want to make sure that it's going to be impactful, it's going to be emotional. Straight to the feels with your fist. Now of course that means that the reader is going to have to care about the characters beforehand. And I have a video that's about that, links in the doobly-doo, to how to make your readers care about your characters. I am a huge fan personally of the tragic death scene. I'm not as big into just killing off characters in an offhanded way. Can we all just have a moment of silence for Finnick? Personally, that's just not my thing. If that's your thing, feel free to do that, but the real problem with Finnick wasn't the abruptness with which he died, but the fact that nobody gave a fuck afterwards. Because the death scene, while it can be awesome and tragic, and I love to have those last words that are like all meaningful and poignant and the audience is hopefully crying by this point, the real payoff comes afterward when we are watching the other characters deal with the death of this character. Because it doesn't matter how awesome and epic and sweet and heartfelt your death scene is, if the other characters are just like, ho hum, Joe's dead, after it's over. The impact on the other characters is just as important as the death itself. If you have experienced death in your own life, now is the time to call back on those probably painful memories and think about how you coped with it. That's what being a writer is. Dredging up painful memories to use them in your books. Someone once asked me how I deal with these stages of grief when I'm writing a story, and I don't follow the stages precisely. I don't actually have them memorized or anything, but I just don't go down the line of anger, blame, pie throwing, whatever the stages of grief are supposed to be. I just try to know my characters really well and know how each of them individually is going to react to a death and to grieving and how quickly or slowly they're going to go through it. So here's a really big thing for me about character deaths. I hate when characters die and come back. It really feels like the author trying to have their cake and eat it too. Because you'll have this amazing death scene, you'll have this amazing mourning from the other characters, and then once the author has milked all of the emotion that they feel that they can out of that moment, the dead character's brought back to life somehow. Now I can't control what you do with your book, and I always say that I'm not the god of writing, so my advice is just that. My advice. I really, really strongly encourage you to keep dead characters dead. If you're reading one of my books and somebody dies,
they ain't coming back. I'm sorry, hun. I feel like it really drags the emotion away from it, and if a reader cottons on to the fact that you will resurrect dead characters, they are not gonna feel all those sweet, juicy emotions that you wanted them to feel, because they have no reason to. They know you're gonna bring so-and-so back, he's fine. It's just a minor case of death. Now, it's not always terrible to do this, and sometimes it can be used kind of hilariously in the narrative. Like in The Princess Bride. He's only mostly dead. But most of the time, it really does feel gimmicky, and I encourage you to shy away from it and not use it unless you feel that it is absolutely necessary. It's completely okay to incapacitate a character for a while. They could be brought very close to death. They could be injured and have to be out of the story for a while. They could just appear and the other characters don't know what happened to them. They could be dead, they could be alive, we don't know. One thing that I like to remember when I'm thinking about killing off a character, think to yourself, I don't want to kill that character. I love them, and that would make me so sad. Kill that character. So those are my thoughts, at least for right now, about killing off your characters. If you have any questions or would like me to do an expanded video, comment below and let me know. I may have missed some things that we could talk about. But I strongly encourage you to go out there and murder at least one of your dear beloved characters, but to make sure that you do it in a meaningful way that helps the story. I hope this was helpful to at least some of you. Remember that I post new videos here Mondays and Fridays. All of the links to my social media are in the doobly-doo for your clicking pleasure. And I will see you again next time with whatever it is I happen to be doing next time. Bye! Have fun with the murder.
What's up, everybody? It is shout out time. Time to shout out to my very first patron, Kim. And if you want to be cool like Kim, become a patron over on Patreon.